Call the meeting to order. Municipality of Oakland-Wawanesa would like to acknowledge and recognize that we are on Treaty 1 and Treaty 2 lands, being the original territory of Anishinaabe and the Dakota Nations and the homeland of the Métis Nation. First item is the adoption agenda. Be it resolved that the agenda for the December 17, 2024 meeting be accepted as presented with the addition of the municipal agreement under the Canada Community Building Fund under general business. Let's move that. Mr. McGregor, second. Councilor McDonald. Discussion. Favor? Be it resolved that the minutes of the November 19th, 2024 regular meeting of council be hereby approved as circulated. Moved by Councilor Fisher, seconder Councilor Hatch. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Be it resolved that December 12th, 2024 general accounts payables being checks number 7650 to 7671 and 7673 to 7745 in the amount of $1,765,827.01 be hereby approved. John, second. Councilor Fisher. Discussion. Councilor Fisher.
We will need you to step out. Watch the corner. I love it.
Back.
Be resolved that the general accounts payable check number 7672 to Big Valley Wash in the amount of $200 be approved. Moved by Mr. Jones, second. Councilor Hatch. Discussion. All in favor?
We can let them back in.
Well, thank you, Vern.
Thank you.
Be it resolved that direct deposit 336 being staff payroll for the period November 11th to November 22nd, 2024 in the amount of $12,862.04 be approved. Moved by McGregor, second. Councilor McDonald. Discussion. All in favor? Be it resolved that direct deposit 337 being staff payroll for the period November 25 to December 6, 2024 in the amount of $15,358.17 be hereby approved. Moved by Councilor Hatch, seconder. Councilor McDonald. Discussion. All in favor? Be it resolved, direct deposit 338 being council indemnities for the month of November 2024 in the amount of $7,393.90 be hereby approved. Moved by Councilor McDonald, second. Councilor McGregor. Discussion. All in favor? The utility account. Be it resolved that December 12, 2024 utility accounts payable being checks number 1202 to 1214 in the amount of $17,873.96 be hereby approved. Moved by Councilor Fisher, seconder. Councilor McGregor. Discussion. All in favor? Be resolved that the statement of revenue and expenditures report to November 30th, 2024 be received as presented. Moved by Councilor McDonald, seconder. Councilor McGregor. Discussion. All in favor? Be it resolved that the bank reconciliations for the month of November 2024 be approved as previously circulated. By Councilor McDonald, second. Councilor Fisher. Discussion. Favor. Okay, that takes us to our delegation.
We'll see if we can. Is he on there yet? Maddie?
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Give us 1 minute to get the projector up and running.
Okay,
We can with your presentation.
okay, perfect. Once that's ready, I'll share my screen, or I'll just share it now, actually, so it's. Okay. Can you see that?
All of them probably. Hold on, and then I will get it.
Okay. Can everyone see that?
We have got paper copies, we've got it up on our wall, we're just enlarging it a little bit and it's our recording in this way.
Okay, amazing. So thank you so much, members of council and staff. Thank you for having me. My name is Maddie Frum. I am the Municipal Partnerships Representative at Food Cycle Science, and I'm here to discuss a food waste program for the rural municipality of Oakland-Wawanesa. So Food Cycle Science is a Canadian company. We are based out of Ottawa and we're 100% focused on food waste diversion solutions. And we do this by using our innovative technology called the Food Cycler. So our in-home food recycler is sold direct to consumers, to businesses, to classrooms through partnerships with not-for-profit organizations, and then finally to municipalities like yours through our Municipal Solutions Division, which is what I'll be talking about today. So we're currently working with more than 150 Canadian municipalities across 9 provinces and 2 territories. You can find us in highly populated cities and all the way to rural and more remote areas. And then nearby to you, we have programs in Pipestone, Neepawa, Ellis Archie, and Portage la Prairie. These communities that partner with us, they have the same thing in common. They face challenges with waste management or landfill capacity, and they're looking for ways to keep food waste out of their landfill. Now, the problem with food waste is that it's avoidable. It accounts for about half of our household waste, and it's made up of liquid, which is really heavy and it freezes in the winter. On top of that, food waste in landfills is responsible for generating the harmful greenhouse gas methane. All of these factors make it so that food waste is a problem that actually has a strong municipal impact. One of the impacts to municipalities is that since food waste makes up such a large portion of the waste stream, it causes the landfill to fill up quickly. As you may know, operating a landfill is very costly for a municipality, so we want to try and extend the lifespan of them for as long as possible. The environmental impact is that organic waste in landfills produces the greenhouse gas methane, as I just mentioned. Methane is 25 times more harmful than CO2. So to put that into perspective, if we take 1 ton of food waste out of the waste stream, that's the equivalent to taking 1 car off the road for an entire year. So it has a pretty big impact. And then in our communities, putting food waste in the garbage, it causes odors, and that's not nice for us, but it's really interesting for animals like bears and raccoons who love to rummage through our trash. So by removing food waste from the garbage, we can eliminate these issues and reduce volumes. Now we often get asked, okay, but haven't we solved this already? And yes, there are a few solutions. So there's green bins, which are common in big cities with high population density and the right infrastructure. However, green bins are cost prohibitive or operationally challenging to implement in more rural or remote areas. Also, we've seen across the country that green bins are struggling to get above a 40 to 60% participation rate, meaning that a lot of organics are still ending up in the landfill, indicating green bins alone aren't really solving our problem. Now, people in your community might be backyard composting, and we think this is a great solution. But unfortunately, backyard composting isn't feasible for everybody. It's typically not a year-round solution, and there's still a concern about bears and other animals getting into it. And then finally, the easiest solution would be to do what we're doing, which is throwing our food waste into the waste stream or the landfill. But as I mentioned, the long-term impacts are costly and harmful to the environment. So we've proposed a different way to manage food waste. With the food cycler, we make it easy to deal with and right in the home. Essentially, we've built a small kitchen appliance. It's roughly the same size as an air fryer or maybe a bread machine, whichever one resonates more. It's straightforward to use. You put your food waste into the machine, you push a button, and then in a matter of hours, you are left with a dry, sterile, and odorless, nutrient-rich soil amendment. So it handles all types of food waste, and that includes meats, poultry, fish, dairy, even some bones, which is great because these are foods that typically can't go into a backyard composter or even a green bin sometimes. The machines can be used anywhere with a plug. Most people will keep them in their kitchen just due to convenience, but if you had a heated garage, it works in there, or you could put it in your basement. On average, it'll process 1 to 3 kilograms of food waste per cycle, with each cycle taking 4 to 8 hours to complete and using 1 kilowatt hour of power, which is the equivalent to having a computer plugged in for the same amount of time. And then the soil amendment that you're left with at the end has many beneficial uses. So here's a look at the two units that we'd be using for your municipality. The difference between the two just comes down to capacity and unit size. So the Eco 3 holds 3.5 liters of food waste and is designed for smaller families or spaces like condos and apartments. And the Eco 5 holds 5 liters of food waste and is designed for people who have larger households or just produce more food waste. Both machines are equipped with a refillable carbon filter to eliminate any smells that occur during the process. But if you are storing this somewhere like a basement or your garage where you're not going to notice the smells, you don't need to worry about the filter. The machine works just fine without it. Now, I like to show this image because it's a really good depiction of the reduction in volume you see when you run your food cycler. So you have a full bucket of food waste, and after a cycle, you're left with 100 to 200 grams of soil amendment. It reduces the volume up to 90%. It's pretty amazing when you open your bucket at the end and you see what you're left with. And then, as I mentioned, so the soil amendment created during the process is completely dry. It's a sterile biomass and it has many uses. So most people will use it to fertilize their garden soil right at home, but you could add it to any type of composting system. So a backyard composter, a leaf and yard waste system if you had one. You could drop it off at a compost site. You could do a sharing method where it goes to a local farm or community garden. And of course, you could add it to a green bin if you had one. So from an environmental standpoint, over its lifetime, the food cycler is actually a net negative carbon solution. And what that means, it's just like planting trees or using solar panels. When you use the food cycler to avoid bringing food waste to the landfill, you actually avoid more greenhouse gases than you create in that entire process. The same can't be said for other municipal services like waste facilities or collection services, which rely on a large fleet of greenhouse gas emitting vehicles. In addition to the environmental impact, the traditional method of managing waste is a heavily burdened system with unrelenting costs from trucking, labor, and maintenance. But the food cycler offers a decentralized approach that avoids the unnecessary additional labor costs. It avoids greenhouse gas emissions from trucking and improper food waste breakdown, and infrastructure costs to the municipality or essentially the residents. The moment that a food cycler enters a home, there's an immediate and impactful food waste diversion taking place. So one thing we've learned from working with municipalities is that residents are really interested in being part of the solution. They want to try new things, they want options, and they want their government to bring these options to the community. And with the food cycler, you get to bring something innovative and tangible to your residents. And since food waste accounts for such a large portion of the waste stream, it's the single most impactful strategy to achieving food waste diversion targets. So the results from our municipal pilot projects have been overwhelmingly positive. We're able to achieve a 98% participation rate. We have a user experience rating of 4.6 out of 5 stars, and we've created a significant amount of net new waste diversion. So approximately 300 kilograms per household per year is being diverted. After seeing how well the initial pilot program goes, many of the municipalities we partner with, they decide to expand the program to more households in their community. So this in Nelson, BC, they ran 2 successful pilot programs and now have decided to put a food cycler in every home in their city. It's very exciting. So the pilot program. So it's a typical 12-week project that starts with a pilot phase to test the viability of the solution in your community. So residents would purchase a food cycler at a subsidized rate from you, the municipality. They use the unit, they track the number of cycles per week for a 12-week period, and then at the end, residents keep their food cycler. All we ask is they complete a brief survey so we can evaluate the program's success. The results are then presented back to you in a final report or a feasibility study. Additionally, we would then present a plan to expand the program to more households in your community, ensuring that that plan aligns with your specific needs, your budget, and your goals. The proposal will outline the scope of the program, the cost, and the implementation details. So as I've been mentioning, the pilot program works on a subsidy model. How this works is Food Cycle Science provides a discount, reducing the retail price by 50%. We then ask that the municipality subsidize the units at a minimum of $100 per unit. And then the residents would pick which model suits their needs the best or suits their household, and they contribute that remaining amount, keeping in mind that this is theirs to use afterwards, so they get to keep this. So here I have the pilot size recommendations. So for the initial trial, I would recommend a 100 household program. This would provide us with lots of great data to support a strategic implementation for the rest of your community, if that's the direction that you'd like to take at the end. But ultimately, you would just see a lot of great results. So since the municipal subsidy is $100 per household, a pilot of 100 households requires an investment of only $10,000 plus costs and taxes, or shipping costs and taxes, sorry. So this is just a recommendation. If you are interested, we're always open to talking with you to figure out a pilot scope that's best for your community. But this is just recommendation based on experience. So lastly, here are some reasons that may resonate with you as you consider whether you should pilot with us. The first is you have the opportunity to trial this technology at well below market rates. You're also going to be seeing immediate and impactful benefits like waste diversion, lower disposal costs, and reduced greenhouse gas emissions. But overall, you're able to provide your constituents with a low-cost service, all while being a steward for the environment. So I welcome the rural municipality of Oakland-Wawanesa as a partner in the fight against food waste, as I believe your community is a great fit for the benefits of this program. Today, all I ask is you receive my presentation as information, and should there be any interest in partnering with us, that you refer to staff for a report and recommendation. Thank you so much for allowing me to present. I am prepared to answer any questions you may have at this time. I will stop sharing my screen as well.
Councilors, any questions?
I have one. What does it do to the humidity in a house when it gets rid of all the moisture out of the waste? Like
Thank you
that
for the-
is a concern in winter time. Some houses are very wet, some houses are very dry. So I'm just kind of asking, what does it do to the humidity in the house? So,
Thank you for the question. I completely understand. So because it works over such a long period, so 4 to 8 hours, you're not noticing massive amounts of humidity that are coming from the machine. It's a little bit warm over top, but you're not seeing steam. So there hasn't been any issues with changing of the humidity level in a house that I'm aware of. I can talk to our engineering team and see if there's any data that would support that, but yeah, I don't have any resident accounts that this has been an issue.
Another question, can we do is there like a 1 to 50 on a trail basis for residents to see acceptability for this or no?
So initially you can do a expression of interest, if I'm understanding your question correctly. The expression of interest is a great way to just gauge, yeah, if the community is open to doing something like this, and then deciding if you wanted to partner afterwards. And I can send demo units as well if you're interested in seeing the product, because really seeing it and feeling it, seeing how it works is the best way to getting a sense of it.
That's it, Maddie. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your meeting. Bye.
Okay, we resolved that the presentation from Maddie Trump related to the food cycle science solutions pilot program be received. Moved by Councilor Gold, seconder, Councilor McDonald. All in favor? Okay, public hearings, and we'll move on to communication.
Okay, under the order of communications, there are 3 from the Association of Manitoba Municipalities. They are dated November the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th. We had information from Glenys Detterville from Brandon University on a climate resilience research study. The Elizabeth Fry Foundation provided information on the Pardon Me program. The Federation of Canadian Municipalities provided several communiques. They are dated November the 18th, the 21st, the 25th, December the 2nd, the 9th, and the 10th. The Green Action Center provided information on the Go Manitoba platform. Manitoba Public Safety Communication Service provided information on their Motorola APX radios. Municipal and Northern Relations provided 3 bulletins. They are bulletin number 24, 26, and 27. Public Utilities Board provided their pub post spotlight. And the Rural Manitoba Economic Development Corporation provided information on their newcomer community integration program.
It be resolved that the above noted communications be received. Moved by Councilor McGregor, seconder. Councilor Fisher, discussion. Committee reports. Councilor Fisher, you have a written report. Anything to add?
Nothing to add.
Mr. Jones, a written report. Anything to add?
No, sir.
Mr. Hatch?
Nothing more to add.
No, anything to add?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to add, we had a handy van meeting, week ago, and we had a report, even though we were without our 2 main vans for 6 months till our new ones come. The other ones didn't pass the safety. We still were, 2,156 riders between the 3 vans. So that's pretty good. So, just like to say things are going on good. So that's it. Thank you.
Councilor McGregor, you have a written report. Anything to add?
Nothing to add.
And nothing to add to my report. PAO report. Anything to add?
I would note that we received the letter from Census Auditing. They were here on December the 5th to do their interim audit. And they have reported back that there was nothing that they found that was unusual, and that staff were great to work with. And I will include that correspondence in January's communication.
Finance officer report. Anything to add?
Yeah.
Public Works. Anything to add? Our chief report is there. Be it resolved that the verbal and written reports be received. Moved by Councilor Hatch, seconder McDonald. Discussion. All in favor? Okay, under bylaws, be it resolved that bylaw number 42-2024, being a local improvement plan to bylaw for the water treatment plant and replacement / relining of certain water lines in Wawanesa, be read a second time. May please move that. Councilor McDonald, seconder. Councilor Hatch, discussion. Councilor McGregor.
Mr. Chairman, my memory on this was we were moving this forward, but there was still some thought that we might get funding from Manitoba Water Services Board, and we might renew the funding agreement.
Through you, that is correct. The advice that I received was to ask the bylaw in its current state. The next steps would be, and later on the agenda, you'll see where we're doing an agreement with the Water Services Board for the design component. That should help figure out the tendering documents, get an idea what the actual costing of the debenture as it sits right now would be. And yes, we are making application through the priority projects with Water Services Board in order to possibly obtain some funding for it. And also on today's agenda, you will see where we're making application, probably utilizing grant match to see about some additional funding that might come through. All of that would come out probably between now and whenever we actually got tenders on the job, at which time we go back and we give people the opportunity to prepay their per parcel portion of it, find out what actually has to be borrowed to cover the remaining costs, and then do an amending bylaw in accordance with that.
Okay, so if none of that funding comes through, determined that we can proceed.
We would then repeal bylaw.
Further? Call the question. All in favor? Be it resolved that bylaw number 42-2024 be read a third and final time. This is a recorded vote for this. Moved by Councilor McGregor, second to Councilor McDonald. All in favor? Okay, unfinished business. Be it resolved that the winter operations policy trans 009 be amended under the snow ridging clause to add before the word snow ridging can be performed. Adding the words snow ridging can be performed if preferred over snow fencing.
So, so before those words, you are going to add the words with the exception of the road specified under snow fence.
Right. You understand it? Okay, moved by Councilor McCrager, seconded, Councilor Fisher, discussion, Councilor McConnell.
So with the exception of the road specified, does that mean the roads listed got to have some fence put up every year?
That was my understanding from the direction from council, was that those roads were considered and determined to be ones that needed to have snow fencing. And so those ones would be done, but the number of others that had been snow fenced would be allowed to be snow ridged as long as we had first off written approvals followed annually by phone call approvals.
So a question, what if the landowner would rather have ridging so they don't have to deal with fence in spring and snow days? I'm just, that's the only thing that I'm saying, because if we say we have to do it, and a year comes where you get lots of snow and you don't get them up in time, or if they prefer the ridging of which most of the one now instead of something. Just wondering in that case.
So what if we added to the last set of quotes there, where it says with the exception of roads specified under snow fencing, approval the landowner? That makes sense.
Is that going to get you where you want?
So what you're saying then is those roads would be snow fenced with the approval of the landowner. And otherwise, they could use snow ridging if the landowner doesn't give permission. Give permission for snow ridging, we would have that in writing, and that meets what you.
So we could, if they prefer ridging, gives us that option, I guess is what I'm saying.
Like in reality, we haven't done any fencing into the early stages of Darcy's farm. Unless someone could jog my memory.
But I know, like I said, our last meeting, the province, the highways do not put up any that I know of. And so it's all reached, and the farm and the landowners prefer it that way. That's all I'm saying, and so that's why I just didn't want to include the part that you just said, that it's just be my.
Councilor Hatch, Councilor Jones, we've got any input on that? Councilor Fisher, you guys are the farm.
We just need a. It's very costly to put up snow fence, maintain it, take it, put it up, take it down. I think everybody would prefer snow ridging. I just want that out in the clause here so that.
Well, I guess what you're trying to put in it is that personal ridging, but if there's the farmer wants fencing, that we should be doing that. That sound right? Should we changing it completely like that, or is it just a matter of, like, this is very. This is written.
Well, if council will recall, the original recommendation was to remove the clause on snow fencing, period. And we were asked to come back because the roads that had been included in the transportation committee had been debated long and hard by council. The determination was those ones should have fencing. And if that's the case and we should be doing it, then we wanted to make it clear that those ones would have the snow fencing. But from what we are hearing, everybody else is looking towards snow ridging, assuming that we've got enough snow. The council is wanting to reverse its decision on having the snow clause in there. Then what should happen is this should be defeated and a new motion brought forward, which would take us back to where we were at last meeting.
I will move it to defeat it.
No, just have to, vote about that. So, okay. Councilor Member,
Mr. Chairman, my memory of the last meeting was that my opinion is that the snow fence on those that we designated, the idea was to put it up so that early snowfall is matched. If you can't snow ridge if there's no snow. So the idea was to deal with trees that are worse with the early snow.
Yeah, I think that we should keep it for those specific roads, just because I believe the ones that I know that are on that right there, they definitely drift the most out of.
Absolutely, they're the worst spots. That's why they're
Yeah.
chosen to have the fence tonight.
but should there be an option though for ridging as well? Like that, I guess that's the question there, is that
I don't want that option.
if the landowner says, no, I don't want fencing because it stays up too long. Then we should be, accommodating.
If the landowner says no, we have no. I think is what we've changed this. Right.
And some say, Chelsea.
I was just gonna say, I think ideally it's their choice, the landowner, and like a week like this week, those fences will be. Like after 27 years.
That is, yeah, every year is different, of course, and the thing is that if we're saying it should be snow fenced and it shouldn't be done, then it should be done.
Mhm.
I think there should be option.
And then the new wording, I think, makes that.
Everybody's okay with that, understand what this is doing, this is just adding on an option for the farm owner, the landowner to say no fencing, I want ridging. Is that correct?
Out of all those roads, Chelsea, are there any that are put on our
Or right away?
what?
Nothing would be on our right of way, it's too close to the road.
The ones that, no, like right on like the fence line. Like
Still too close.
the trees bank, is that one?
Like by the mailboxes, is that?
No, like trees bank, like. Where you hit those trees, that's.
I think that anywhere within the road allowed system.
You know,
Well, Mr. Chairman, just kind of just reading through this and when I read it, like snow ridging can be performed preference. Snow ridging, but with the exception of the road specified, so that, I guess, we have to, like, I just, so we have a clear. You know, we don't have to put them up, we could ridge if. That's the confusing part to me. Maybe it's just me.
So with the change in words that was suggested by Councillor McGregor, it would be with the exception of the roads specified and with the approval of the landowner. So if the landowner doesn't approve those 6 roads, then they've got the option to do it.
Okay, no, as long as that's, we're all clear on it, I'm good with it.
So the one road being Tower Road. And it's normally the fields in corn. And what if it's late in harvested every year? We don't ever get snow fence put.
But if it's corn, there's not gonna be any blowing snow either.
No, but the corn, they take it off. And then there's no snow fence, but
Crops, like, here, I guess.
I think it's dealing with the landowner. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Great. Okay, the boundary roads agreement, be resolved that the draft boundary roads agreement with RM of Cornwallis be amended to indicate that Cornwallis will be responsible for grading and plowing all boundary roads located between Cornwallis and Oakland-Wawanesa, with the exception of Lake Clementi Road. So we still move that? Councillor Patch, seconder, Councillor Fisher, discussion on it? And maybe give us some of the reasoning that came out of that?
Yeah, I could. So previously, the agreement had been that Oakland-Wawanesa covered some of the roads. Cornwallis covered some of the roads. They were typically doing the ones west of Highway 10, as well as Clementi Hill. And our crews were doing areas that were further to the east because our graders could get there quicker. Discussions with Cornwallis is that with Lake Clementi being all in the municipality with the exception of one small area, they said they would do all of the remaining roads as long as Oakland-Wawanesa would cover Lake Clementi.
All in favor?
I have a question. Does this include graveling?
They didn't, sorry, they didn't mention anything with graveling,
It's just that.
the plowing and the,
Maintain.
yeah.
Once again, all in favor? Okay, be it resolved that the cost sharing agreement with Manitoba Water Services Board related to the water main renewal design be approved, whereby funds for the municipal portion shall be expended from the utility reserve. Move that. Regular second, Councilor McDonald. Discussion? All in favor? Okay.
You again?
Yeah.
Don't need that.
We're working today.
Okay, whereas information has been received from Precision Land Solutions on behalf of Mike Fisher with respect to a proposed tile drainage project located on north half 21717 WPM. And whereas no concerns have been expressed by Public Works Manager, therefore resolved that the request for drainage permission and consent from Precision Land Solutions on behalf of Mike Fisher to supply and install tile drainage on north half 21717 WPM be approved, subject to number one, the road being returned to its original state following installation, including City of Brandon specification for road work, with all work to be completed in consultation with the Public Works Manager. And number two, receipt of permit application fee and deposit in accordance with drainage bylaw number 41-2024. Move that, Councilor McGregor moves it, seconder. Discussion? In favor? Okay, be it resolved that in accordance with section 8(1)D of the Emergency Measures Act, the emergency plan for the municipality of Oakland-Wawanesa for 2025 be adopted. We move that. Mr. McDonald, seconder. Mr. Fisher, discussion. There's some updating to it. Hopefully everybody's is aware of the updates. All in favor? Be it resolved that the correspondence dated November 28, 2024, with respect to support for mental health initiative in Westman be received. Who's that? Seconder. Mr. McGregor, discussion. All in favor? Be it resolved that Grant Match Corporation be requested to make application on behalf of the municipality for funding for the rehabilitation of drinking water in the amount of that $1 amount through the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund. That dollar amount will.
council's choice. So the debenture, the current debenture is 1.6 million. Anticipated borrowing is 1.4 because there is still some monies left in the current agreement with the Water Services Board. The priorities that we have made application to Water Services Board, the Commercial Street waterline replacement upgrade was 500,000. The Water Street relining is 400,000 and the Park Street relining is 400,000. Those are total costs. And we've made a request for funding. If those are approved, Water Services Board would pay up to, well, I think the tier now is 50%. So question is, how much are we going to ask grant match to apply for, recognizing that if they're successful, there is a requirement for the municipality to fund grant match 10%.
I would be, we'd have to say an amount.
I think the application has to have a number of.
Yeah, I would say grant matches, recommendation though.
Mhm.
Initial preference.
Do we do an amount up to? Because I think the grant has to have the resolution of council in order for them to submit the application. So I guess this could come back to council to determine an amount. The application is due by March, early March. Okay,
So we'll change it to be it resolved that Grant Match Corporation be requested to make application on behalf of the municipality for funding for the rehabilitation of drinking water in the amount up to $1.4 million through the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund.
Okay, sorry, a question there. Is this to increase more housing?
No, this is part of that whole process of creating our.
I'm just reading the have to have your project be eligible. And it's in order to enable more housing in your community.
and part of it also specifies to reduce leaks so that your capacity would be such that you could
Okay.
do additional housing. So again, if there happen to be any subdivided lots or any of the lots that are currently available for sale sold, we would have the capacity to talk about.
Let me move that. Donald, second, Councilor McGregor. All in favor? Okay, be resolved that appointments be made to boards and committees as outlined below with the terms of office to expire on December 31st, 2025, unless otherwise noted. Instead of a Delta Aquifer Management Advisory Board, we have no person available. Central Assiniboine Watershed, we have still sewer subdistrict, Citizen Jeff Elder and Mitchell McPherson. Oak Creek Subdistrict, Councilor Hatch and Citizen Chelsea Long. Souris River Subdistrict, Councilor Mike Fisher and Citizen Chelsea Long. The Wimbrow South Cypress Wawanesa Handyman, Councilors McDonald. And with Citizens Dale Seafoot and Tanis Rathwell. The Medical Clinic Committee, we have Councilors. Souris and District Vet Board, Councilor Jones. Souris River Recreation Commission, Citizen Cody Moore and Councilor McGregor. Wawanesa Museum, Citizen Neil Bach. Wawanesa Valley Lodge, Citizen Ron Seafoot or designate, and Councilors McDonald and Fisher. Outside organizations, internal committees and appointments, Board of Revision, Head of Council, and Councilor Fisher and Rome. Legislative and Finance Committee, all members of council. Personnel and Policy Committee, Councilors McGregor, Jones, and Hatch. Public Works and Transportation Service Committee, Councilor Hatch, Jones, McDonald, and Rome. Building Feasibility Ad Hoc Committee, Councilors Hatch, Jones, McDonald, and Rome. Lead Supervisor, Councilor Hatch. So we move that. Councilor McGregor, second from Councilor Hatch. Discussion. McDonald?
No, Mr. Chairman, if anybody would like to take on my place in them boards, I'm welcome to it. I'll do it, but if somebody else wants to, I'd gladly let them. They take a lot of time.
That's for volunteers, but I don't see them jumping up and down.
They definitely take a lot of time.
All in favor? Be it resolved that following discussions with the auditors, any transfer of surplus to general reserve be based on 2024 numbers if a surplus is expected. I'm going to move that. Mr. McGregor. Seconder. Councilor Fisher, discussion. Maybe we can.
Yeah. So while the auditors were here, we had the opportunity to speak with them because the 2023 final report showed that there was a surplus, which because of year end would have gone into accumulated surplus. We asked them how, when we don't get the audit report back until well into the following year, when year end for that would have already been done, and when the budget the next year would have already been adopted. And so the auditors had said the only thing you could do is at year end, if you anticipate that you've got a surplus, that you base it on those numbers. As council is aware, the one time we attempted to do that, by the time the auditors did all their due to and due from adjusting entries and our final invoices came in, we didn't have a surplus and we ended up in a deficit position. So I thought a little bit more about this. And I wonder if a better methodology might be is that where you know that we have got a surplus, so in this instance, 2023 surplus, we know that it has already gone into accumulated surplus. When we are contemplating the 2025 budget, do we anticipate pulling any of that out of accumulated surplus so as not to increase mill rates for the money that and I almost think that is a better way to do it than to try to guess at year end where we're sitting.
So you're pulling 2 years ago, basically,
Yes,
2 years previous.
Yeah.
Hoping that, well, they'll know what it is.
we know from 2023 that there was a
So
surplus that went in.
2026 we'll know for 2024.
Yes, so in 2025, if council was of the opinion that they wanted to reduce accumulated surplus, but the amount of surplus from 2023, we could do that during budget discussions.
There's some downfalls to that. I guess number one is that when we get close to taxation season, for instance, August, September, we're usually this year, I think, usually pulling from our line of credit to pay our bills until taxes start coming in. So, you know, to take more out of the surplus, we're going to be taking out of our line of credit sooner.
No, because the accumulated surplus, we wouldn't have,
But it's
Budgeted.
still our bank account.
but it's set. So,
Yeah, I understand, but yeah, but you're still using out of your money in the bank.
yeah, so we would draw on our line of credit up to the maximum of
Right.
500,000.
So I mean, there's dangers with that, but that's up to council to decision. But this gives us an opportunity to do it. Doesn't say we have to do it. It just gives us an opportunity to do it, so we choose.
Yes, and like I say, having thought more about it over the weekend, after having spoken to the auditors when they were out here, I would almost be inclined to suggest to council that you defeat this motion. And then if council wants to do anything out of accumulated surplus, you do it at budget time, or you leave this in, but we don't have another council meeting between now and year end. And quite truthfully, particularly this year, where we've still got some grant monies that we're waiting to see if it comes in for this year. And we know for a fact that with the postal disruption that there's going to be a lot of invoices yet to arrive. I'm not real confident in where we're sitting.
Yeah, the other side of this is that this is, if we're gonna take it out of surplus, it has to go to general reserve according to this resolution. Not just to budget time.
No, the idea being was that council had originally wanted to put money into the general reserve because it is more accessible for use in the following year.
Mr. Chairman, so when that motion was initially, what do you think that, you know, December 30th or 31st, we would kind of do an estimate and move money?
Have to, but like I said, it bit us the one time we tried it, and I don't think we are in as knowledgeable position this year, just given the postal disruption and whatever.
I don't think we're expecting jumping bills, but at the same time, we don't know. Ready for the question? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, be it resolved that council meetings in 2025 be held on the third Tuesday of each month as follows: January 21st, February 18, March 18, April 15, May 20, June 17, July 15, August 19, September 16, October 21, November 18, and December 16. I'm gonna move. Fisher, seconder, Hatch, discussion. Councilor McGregor.
April.
And yes, so as far as we know it now, that is going to be the AMM Spring Convention falls right in there. So I didn't know whether to check and see whether or not we would want to do a date other than the third Tuesday in order to avoid the week that is AMM.
What, when did that start, or what did it do?
I believe that it started the Monday,
14th, I think.
It goes till Friday.
it goes till Wednesday.
Can't do the week after. We do Thursday that week.
You mean like the 17th sort of thing?
Like I could make that work. You know, it's
Well, it's usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the spring conference. So as soon as you could do is the Thursday or the week before.
Or do it the Friday, so do it only a day or something.
Well, let's do a couple on Friday because of the fact that when you're sending out material.
Good Friday. You could go the week earlier, just have less time between the March 18th and the April 15th meeting.
Be better off with the 17th.
We'll make it work, whichever works best for
I mean,
council.
the 17th gives us just about a whole month then.
That one will be held on Thursday, April the 17th.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put forth that, I know meeting times aren't on here, but I'd like to suggest meeting times to be, like, I'm very, like, between 12 and 3. That is the morning, or start at 3, start at 12, start at 2.
And that's like fine.
Yeah, I was going to say that is something that we'll have to.
That'd be on the
consider
bylaw.
on the Bylaw, this is just a requirement
Okay.
of the municipal act, post our meeting dates.
Yeah, if we should bring that up, if you wish to bring it up at the next meeting, to do that,
Yeah, but we'll do the bylaw review, yeah, see which bylaws need changing.
Not in the next year.
okay? All in favor? Whereas section 163 of the municipal act provides as follows: a council may adopt an interim budget to have effect only until the council adopts the operating budget for the fiscal year. Therefore, be it resolved that council will adopt the following interim budget for 2025. The operating budget, general government services of 339,000, detective services of 80,200, transportation of 476,000, environmental health services 69,200, public health and welfare services 14,300, environmental development services $3,000, economic development services 26,000, recreation and culture services 56,670, fiscal services of $180,300, and water and wastewater services of $194,600. Please move that. Councilor Hatch, second Councilor McDonald, discussion. This basically, I believe, is 50% of the overall budget from last year.
Yeah.
For understanding how they came up with those numbers. All in favor? Whereas section 365(2) of the municipal act provides that council may in any year designate the immediately preceding year or any earlier year as a year for which properties, the taxes in respect of which are in arrears for the year, must be offered for sale by auction to recover the tax arrears and costs. It resolved that the designated year for which properties in arrears be offered for sale by auction be 2024, meaning all properties with outstanding taxes from the prior year of 2023 and prior, and be resolved that in accordance with section 363(1) of the Municipal Act, costs shall be the actual cost incurred by the municipality for each parcel listed for the tax sale, plus an administration fee of $50 per roll as set forth in Manitoba Regulation 50/97. And be it further resolved that the tax sale be held September 16, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. at the municipality of Oakland-Wawanesa Council Chambers, 106 4th Street, Wawanesa, Manitoba. Move that. Gregor, second, Councillor McDonald. Discussion. The properties we have in that category right now.
So far, there looks like there's one.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, under municipal agreements, be it resolved that a municipal agreement under the Canada Community Building Fund under general business be approved. We'll move that. Second, Councilor McGregor. Discussion. This agreement is required so that we can get our gas tax.
Correct.
All in favor? Okay, be it resolved that this regular meeting now adjourns to an in-camera meeting to discuss a legal matter for subsections 152, 3B2, 4, and 5 of the Municipal Act, and all matters discussed in camera are confidential until discussed in an open meeting, as per section 83(1)D of the Municipal Act. I'm going to move that. Donald, seconder. Mr. Fisher, all in favor? Carried. We are in camera. Okay, be it resolved that this in-camera meeting does now resume back to regular meeting. Moved by Councilor McGregor, second by Councilor McDonald, all in favor? Okay, transfer utility arrears, whereas in accordance with section 252(2) of the Municipal Act, the amount of all outstanding charges for water and sewer service, they lien in charge upon the land serviced and shall be collected in the same manner in which ordinary taxes upon land are collectible and with like remedies. And whereas in accordance with bylaw number 16-2021, being water and sewer rates bylaw, due notification has been given to customers with outstanding balances of greater than 90 days. Therefore, be it resolved that the outstanding balances indicated in the transfer utilities arrears to tax roll report dated December 16, 2024, be added to taxes for the respective properties, unless other arrangements have been made with the municipality. We make that motion. Donald, seconder, Councillor Jones. Discussion. All in favor? Whereas there are a few accounts with minimum balances due that have been outstanding for more than 90 days, and whereas it would be time and cost prohibitive to send these into a collection agency for action, therefore be it resolved that the outstanding balances indicated on the utility and accounts receivable cancellation report dated December 20, 2024, inclusive of those accounts already considered by council for cancellation, be deemed uncollectible and the respective amounts be canceled. Moved by Councilor McGregor, second Councilor Hatch. Discussion.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, that's the total amount.
That was those two items.
Read all,
Just the right off here,
all the right, oh, okay, sorry.
right?
And the
And three, okay. Okay. All in favor? Be it resolved that the staff be authorized to carry over vacations indicated on the payroll carry report, subject to time being utilized by March 2025. Moved by seconder, Councilor McGregor. Discussion. Favor. Be it resolved that the correspondence from Leonard Platt dated November 27, 2024 be received. Moved by Councilor Fisher, second Councilor Hatch. All in favor? Be it resolved that administration be instructed to purchase a John Deere Z 950M commercial mower at a cost of $16,000 plus taxes, whereby the funds shall be expended from the workshop and yard operations line item. Moved by Berger, seconded. McDonald, discussion. All in favor? Be resolved that this meeting is now adjourned to meet again on January 21st, 2025 at 9 a.m. at the municipal office in Wawanesa. Moved by,
There is nothing to do with the notice. He's given written notice. It'll be placed on the next agenda. Got to be from one meeting to the next.
by Councilor McGregor, seconded. Councilor Fisher, all in favor? Adjourned.